What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. I know it's been a little while since I did a video. Things have been a little crazy around here. I had knee surgery probably about 2 weeks ago, and then I started building a deck, which basically consumed all my time. Probably not the brightest move in the world to build a deck immediately after knee surgery, but we got it done, and I'm alive, so it's a win. I'm going to do a beer today called Losantiville Pre-Prohibition Lager, and this is by Listermann Brewing, and they're out of Cincinnati, Ohio. There's a really interesting can art in here. I think is what lured me in. It's got some old-time guys from the Prohibition era, I guess Prohibition agents, forcing people to dump kegs of what looks like gold liquid down into the sewers. So it's a shame. I don't think you'll be able to see it that properly because it's like a black and white metallic type of can with the gold beer pouring out. But it's a really cool label, really cool artwork. And on the side here it says, unlike many of today's lagers, this longtime Listermann staple is brewed with flaked corn, adding a sweet maltiness to this already robust classic. Moderate floral hop aromas, a rich creamy mouthfeel, and a crisp dry finish make pre-pro perfect for any occasion. Now, when I saw this, I immediately thought, cool can art, but what exactly does pre-prohibition lager mean? It's a term that's been thrown around quite a bit. I know Coors put one out a while back, and a few others have done these pre-prohibition style lagers. And to me, I just kind of thought it was like a sales gimmick, but I thought I'd do a little more homework and found this website called Beer Judge Certification Program, bjcp.org, and it has detailed listings on all the different styles of beer. So most of them I'm pretty familiar with, but when you start talking about pre-prohibition lager, I can't tell you exactly what makes that what it is. So I went to the site and it had a bunch of listings and kind of talked about the ABV, different qualities, and basically what they said, it was a bitter pale lager with grainy sweet corn. So I guess a twist on what we consider a traditional lager because you have that corn additive. Although I guess a lot of the American beers that we consider lagers do have corn or rice or something else thrown in there. So I guess this does technically fit into the category, and that explains the mystery of what a pre-prohibition lager is. And like I said, if you go to the website, there's all kinds of details about the original gravity and ABV and all the other things that are kind of indicative of this style of beer. So if you want to learn more about it, check it out. It was bjcp.org. I just found the site today and thought it was pretty useful. I might have to go back there and mess around a little further and see what else I can find. Now this one comes in at 5% ABV. Ratings wise does fairly well. Untappd 3.47. Beer Advocate was an NA. I think on Untappd it had about 2,500 check-ins too. So it wasn't one of those 3.5s where you've had 6 check-ins and they just, all fanboyed the beer. Now, again, since I took some heat from my glassware, I'm coming through with my Hocker Shore Munich glass here, and I'm praying to God I don't break this before I leave. I'm also testing out, I got a new battery pack finally. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those Jackery type batteries. I got this one here. I guess it's Vitoman, VTOMAN. So theoretically, I should have power in the shed, and I have the lights powered now. We'll see how long it lasts or how it works, but hopefully that deals with some of our issues in the summer and the winter. As far as the beer, take a look at it. It's actually a bit cloudy. Very light colored. So if I break out my Brew HQ chart here, the SRM, I don't know, maybe like a 4 or 5, like a pale gold color. Although it is kind of cloudy, I can't see through it. Fair amount of bubbles, but they're quite large bubbles going up there. The head poured quite a bit when I initially poured it, so it's probably a good finger and a half, but it's dissipated rather quickly to a nice white head, which it's kind of odd. You got a little bit of fine bubbles, but you can also see the big bubbles throughout the middle. I don't know if you can pick it up there, but you can see them rising. Big, large bubbles in there. It looks pretty good. Let's give it a sniff. Nothing crazy going on the nose. I would say it's lightly malty and maybe pick up a slight sweetness from the corn, but it's not gross. One of the things I hate about adjunct lagers when they use corn or rice, I don't know if they tend to go heavy with it or what the deal is, but it has this really nasty sweet taste to it that I don't like. So this is brewed with corn, but it doesn't have that smell. Yeah, it doesn't have the gross smell. So it's a win so far. All right, let's give it a shot. See what this pre-pro tastes like. Cheers. As always, first things first, we'll deal with the body. I'd say this is medium bodied, somewhat creamy. It has a decent mouthfeel to it. So I think that's from the flake corn, if that's what it said on the can. Rich, creamy mouthfeel. Yeah, I don't know if it's from the corn or the other stuff, but yeah, it comes through with that. As far as the floral aroma, I don't know that I'm picking that up too much. To me, the smell was just kind of grainy, malty and grainy, and a little bit of sweet corn. Nothing, I mean, unless you want to call sweet corn floral. I don't. I view floral as a different kind of smell. Taste, non-offensive. 5% ABV, so it's a decent sessionable beer for me. I mean, I know a lot of the Euro brothers, their beers are a little bit less, under 5. In the US, 5 is kind of average. Most beers are, I think, around 5, and then you have to go light beers would be less than that, or some of the higher ABV ones would be above. But 5 is kind of a generic standard beer, and this fits the bill with that. As far as flavors, I think it kind of just follows the nose. You get a bit of the grainy malt there. You definitely get a little bit of sweetness from the corn, but it's not an overwhelming sweetness that puts you off. Like I said, I know a lot of times when you're drinking cheap beers that have corn in them, it's like a cloyingly sweet taste that this is going to sound gross, but it reminds me of stomach bile. You know, when you're a kid, or even when you're an adult, I guess, and you're sick and you puked everything up and there's nothing left and you're like dry heaving, this nasty sweetness. Whenever I have those gross beers, that's the taste that it reminds me of, that stomach bile taste. And this, thank God, does not have that taste. It's got a nice sweet corn taste that complements the graininess, the nice smooth flavor. It does have the dry finish, like it said at the end. You can pick that up at the back. That's about it. I think this is a pretty simple beer, and I think that's what it's designed to be. You get hoppiness, minimum. It didn't say the ABV anywhere that I saw this listed. Yeah, it's got the ABV. Sorry, it didn't have the IBUs, and I didn't notice it on Untappd either. So IBUs are not listed, and I would say they're fairly negligible. You do get a slight bitterness at the end. I think you get that dry finish, and you get a little bit of bitterness, but it's not overwhelming. So if you are someone who likes hoppier beers, this probably isn't hoppy enough for you. But for me, this is a decent session beer, and I could definitely put quite a few of these away. Has a nice balance, light hops, light graininess, light sweetness, definitely crushable, and definitely would serve its purpose if this was something you wanted to have a few of on a nice day. It's a bit overcast here today, so it's not too bad. But if it was a warm day, this would be a solid beer for a nice warm day. So for me, Losantiville Pre-Prohibition Lager. And I looked up Losantiville. It looks like that is Cincinnati, or part of Cincinnati back in the day. Losantiville Pre-Prohibition Lager, Listermann Brewing. Big thumbs up. I dig this. I know lagers aren't beers that a lot of people like. I kind of dig them. They're my go-to. I like fancier stuff. I like dark beers. I like sours in moderation. But if I had to have just like a kind of regular, generic go-to beer, this is something I could drink quite regularly. So big thumbs up for the beer. And if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And as always, you got any comments or questions, jump in down below. Have you had the Losantiville Pro-Prohibition Lager? If so, let me know what you think about it. If you're in Ohio, this should be pretty easy to find. Listermann's on the shelves in Ohio. They got pretty good distribution out here. Outside of Ohio, not sure. So let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you have this where you live. Hey, till next time. Cheers.